It's a good day to be alive, right, man?
Yeah, man. Every day clean is, right?
All right, yeah, it is, man. What's going on? Welcome to Truth Addiction. I'm a recovering addict named Brian, aka Wawa Brian. I just like to say real quick, I appreciate the people who've been watching the videos, liking, commenting, and most of all, hitting that subscribe button for me. I just, it's overwhelming to me, right? The channel hit 100 subscribers. It's a lot to me, over 1,000 views, and I got some people from different countries that are watching, man. So with that said, this is Truth Addiction, and this channel focuses on the disease of addiction and all the ways it manifests itself, right? And I'm sitting here with Ed. He was nice enough to sit down with us today. Ed is a recovering addict. I got some questions, you know how it goes, and I'm gonna go in. But before we get started, I would just like to personally welcome DeAndre Swift to Philadelphia.
Woo!
Fly, Eagles, fly. You know what I'm saying, Ed?
I know what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
The rest of the NFC
Ouch.
East in trouble.
Yeah. Howie ain't no joke, man.
Nah.
Our general manager's pretty damn good.
He makes magic, doesn't he?
All right, let's get serious. All right, so let's kick this off. So introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been clean.
I'm Ed. I'm an addict. I've been clean since July 4th, 2020. So I got about 2 years and 10 months almost. Yeah, right in the middle of COVID, I got clean. It was a tough one.
Yeah, it was. A lot of things were shutting down and everything. Well, congratulations. So first question, we're just going to go. So where were you born? Where were you raised? And tell us a little bit about your early childhood.
So I was born in South Carolina. My dad was in the Marines in Paris Island.
Damn.
So I was born down there. But then my mom and dad are both from up around here, Delaware County. So they came back, you know, after my dad got released. So I was raised in Delaware County.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was Ed's childhood early on?
Childhood was pretty fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
What I remember of it, like, yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of things, really. My brain shot out. I don't know if it's just I purposely blocked things out or if the drug use has just fried my brain. But for some reason, I don't remember a lot of things. Everything I do remember was trauma, man, trauma. The parents arguing, the parents fighting, the grandparents coming and getting involved, mom going to mental institutions, dad out just doing the addict things, you know, out with other women, getting drunk, you know.
So your mom and dad were addicts or just your dad?
Just my dad.
Okay.
I have an opinion about my mom. She should be an addict or an alcoholic.
Right,
she
right.
just never picked up, never got in a program.
Right.
But she has the same tendencies and mindset and thought patterns that I've always had. Just I found drugs and she refused to do anything about it.
Right. Yeah, I had a rough joint too. I tell people like the childhood I had, like nobody should experience. My mom was an addict. My dad was in and out of my life. I mean, like I think I hung out with my dad maybe 6 times. I don't know, somewhere between 6 to 10 times my whole life. He would try to come in and then it would last for like a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Buy me a pair of sneakers or something, and then be, you know.
My dad took off when I was like 12, and then I never saw him since. Like one day he was the baseball coach, the Boy Scout leader, everything, and then the next day just gone.
Yeah.
So
So you grew up. What high school did you go to?
Interboro.
Where was it at?
Interboro.
And where's that at?
Right next to Ridley, Prospect Park, Pennsylvania.
So what's up by the airport? Philadelphia Airport?
Yeah, right near the airport. Exactly.
Okay, all right. So so that's right outside of Philly.
Yeah,
right.
Right below Philly. Yep.
All right. And like, were you a good student? Did you graduate, stuff like that?
I graduated. Good student. I don't know. I was like I skipped 2nd grade. I was in gifted programs. I always excelled, like smart. Like they told me, you have an above genius IQ when I was real young and all. So I graduated, but by the skin of my teeth, not because of any effort I put in. Like I just skipped all the classes.
Right. Yeah.
I just showed up and like I could ace a test no matter what. I didn't do any homework. I didn't take any notes. I didn't pay attention to class, but I could show up and ace every test I ever took. So they had to pass me.
Yeah. I dropped out in 9th grade. I cut school one day, never went back.
Yeah, nice.
You know, I did go back when I was 28 and got my GED for whatever that's worth. All right, so tell us, when did you start using drugs? Do you remember like how old you were?
Yeah, I was young. I was Probably 12.
12. So yeah, man, I hear from a lot of people that's pretty young, dude.
Yeah.
I kind of started when I was like 17, maybe 16, 17. So I have a question that I ask people when they're this. Like, do you think it was a peer pressure thing? When your first use of a drug? See, we consider alcohol a drug. So when I say a drug,
I'm not sure that it was a peer pressure thing as much as a peer opportunity.
A peer opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like nobody was pressuring me to do it, but it really, I was like an isolator all my whole life. I didn't fit in with people, you know, even when I was real young in school. And like, so me and my buddy, just one guy I used to hang out with, it was just Ed and Mike. Like, that's it. We didn't have any other friends. We didn't kick it with no other people. His dad had a case of Miller Genuine Draft or whatever in the garage for 3 or 4 years. We looked at this damn case of
3 or 4
It was rotten, dude. Hot, cold, winter, summer.
That shit was probably like
It
sake
was the
by the time you
worst,
drank
man.
that
But
shit.
I'll tell you what, though. One day we were like, fuck it, man. We decided to drink it. So we each had 2 or 3 beers. We were both puking all over the place. The messed up part about it is the next day we were right back in the rest of that beer.
Yeah.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Okay. So real quick, how'd that make you feel? That first
Sick.
yeah, you got
It made
sick
me
on
feel
it?
sick, but I think even then I realized for the first time in my life, like my head shut off.
Yeah. Right.
I think I realized that.
It was your first thing
No
of
matter how
taking yourself out of yourself.
Yup.
Yeah.
No matter how sick I got and miserable I was, just like later in addiction, right?
Right.
It shut my head off.
Now, looking back at it now, right? Because we've been clean for a little bit. We work a program. And when you look back at it now, before your first use of drugs, do you see any signs of the disease of addiction?
Absolutely, man. I've been an addict for forever. You know, so me and my buddy Mike, we would go in Walmart every day after school and steal fishing lures, little rubber fishing lures. We had to have every color, every size, every shape. Right. We would go there every day and steal those things. Neither one of us fished. You know, we just had this giant tackle box he got off his dad, and our goal was to fill that tackle box with every fishing lure you could get. We stole from that. It was Kmart.
That's
Walmart.
Wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Every day we steal fishing lures. Like nonsensical, right? But it was just like it became something we had to do every day. We didn't even talk about it anymore. It just happened.
Right. That is kind of crazy.
It's nuts.
So take us back to when you were in your active addiction. And then all the way up to the point this time when you got clean. Talk to us about from that first drug to when you finally got to that day, like, this is fucking bad. I got to do something about it. Talk about the progression real fast of that.
My progression happened fast. Like fast. So like I said, I was like 12, we started drinking. We found a guy, like we were in like maybe 5th or 6th grade, and we found a guy in 8th or 9th grade to buy pot off. So we were smoking pot real quick after that. Right. The way my life went, like my dad split, my mom didn't have any money. It was like get a job or not have sneakers. You know, so I was 13, 14 years old, mowing grass, cleaning up in Dunkin' Donuts, paying my mom a little bit of rent, like helping with the bills. But so over the summers, as soon as I hit 9th grade, over the summer, I started carrying shingles for a roofing company. Okay. Roofers are vicious with drugs, dude. They don't play.
Yeah, I know.
So at 9th grade, I was...
It's a highly drug-fueled kind of thing, yeah.
So, and I was a roofer for 15...
So is being a chef, actually.
Too. Kitchens are full of drugs.
Yeah.
But so at 15 years old, you know, I was hanging out with roofers, like constantly. So at 16 years old, I had a crack pipe in my mouth. Right. So that progression for me was bam, bam, bam. Before you knew it, I was smoking crack. And then I was eating pills because I would be up for days on crack in high school. Right. And finding a way to come down. So it was like a rocket, man. 0 to 100 like that. You know what I mean? So then at that point, like between being young and not feeling comfortable and not knowing how to deal with my thoughts and my emotions, and my parents not like, you couldn't talk to them. It was old school. Like, don't talk about it, stuff it down, you know? So I was good at that. Between that and then the rocket shit takeoff to the hard drugs I experienced, I didn't know anything else. So I just stayed that way. I was 40 years old before the first time I ever got clean. So from 12 years old to 40 years old, my life
a 28-year run.
Mangled, bro.
Yeah.
I don't remember much. I don't know what happened. All I know is that that's all I knew.
Right.
Like, I didn't know anything else.
So take us back to the day before the last time you used, before you went into, treatment or whatever it is.
I was doing the heroin bed or probably fentanyl. I don't know, whatever's out there. It was during COVID.
Like, explain your mindset. Like, what's happening in your mind at that day?
So what happened, my knee started swelling up and my ankle. They both started swelling up real bad. The pain was unbearable. I was on crutches. Not because the doctor said to get on crutches, just because I got a pair of crutches. That was my solution.
Wait, you mean like we keep getting high, we don't seek no treatment from any doctors, we're trying to just...
What's that? So
we got our own treatment program.
like, in my mind, if I just did more drugs, the pain would go away.
Right.
And really the pain just got worse and worse because I was septic. I had sepsis. I had a disease in my blood.
Yeah. I know a couple people that happened.
So I was married at the time. I was at my wife, at our house. And one morning I was like, yeah, I got to go to work. And she was like, work? You can't even walk.
Yeah.
So I left, got a hotel room. That was when they were giving away that good unemployment money. So I was getting big checks every week. And I went and got a hotel room and just sat there for a couple weeks shooting dope, man. My mind, I was desperate. Like, I knew it was over. I knew, I thought I was going to die, really. My knee was so bad.
You hit that key moment that I think in an active addict's life, that desperation.
Desperation.
Yeah.
And being the isolator I am, that I was since before I was 12 and started drinking, I just sat in a hotel room by myself. The only time I left was to go to the Mac machine, go down the way, and go back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
That was it. So I was there for 2 weeks and just knew I had to do something about it.
Did you enter a rehab, detox?
I went to a hospital.
You went to a hospital?
I went in a hospital on crutches, dude. My knee was the size of a basketball by this point.
So you go. So they treat you at the hospital. You come out of the hospital and stay clean. You do no detox or rehab or nothing.
I did all that. I was in the hospital for 38 days.
Okay.
I was bad, dude. I had to have IV. I had to have a PICC line put in and IV antibiotic treatments for 30 days. And that was 3 days before they got that started, and then 3 days after it. So I was there for 38 days in the hospital. They didn't really detox me. They gave me tramadols.
Right.
It was rough.
So, all right. So, tell me your experience. We're both in Narcotics Anonymous, so I know that's where you went.
Yeah.
For your 12-step program. Tell me your first experience with that first meeting you went to, and
it was a Zoom.
It was a Zoom meeting.
I was on a Zoom meeting because I was in the middle of COVID. And I didn't know anybody because I was an isolator. Right. So I went on a Zoom meeting in the hospital because in the hospital, man, it's amazing how this thing works, right? I'm in the hospital, my knee's swelling up. Everybody there knew it was from shooting up with dirty needles, right? The lady that came in and cleaned my room, she would start bullshitting with me. Turned out her husband had 22 years clean. Wow. She'd call her husband on the phone, hand me her cell phone while and take her time cleaning my room.
Yeah, that's pretty
so that I could get some recovery in.
Yeah.
Right? Then the night nurses that came in overnight, a couple of them were in recovery. So they'd take their time fucking with the meds and whatever they did and just to bullshit with me about recovery, right? So it's amazing how this thing works. And they introduced me to Zoom meetings.
Okay.
So I got on a Zoom meeting. I met my current sponsor in that first Zoom meeting I was ever in.
Nice.
It was about early recovery. And he shared about being in recovery, getting a phone list, calling people up, and they're having their life built, you know what I mean? So they were busy, hey, you okay? You gonna use drugs? No, I'm all right. All right, man, I gotta go, which I understand, but I felt like they weren't making time for that phone call because I said I was all right and I was not using.
Yeah.
I was just reaching out because that's what I was told to do. Right? And then he shared about that exact same thing. My sponsor is the most opposite person to me that you could ever meet.
Yeah.
But that thing clicked, man. It made me feel attracted to him.
So, all right, so you do that, and so I'm assuming you started to work a 12-step program, which is Narcotics Anonymous. So you have a sponsor, you have a home group.
Yep, I have a place in the steps.
You have a place in the steps.
And I get in service.
You have a conscious contact with some kind of higher power or God of your understanding.
Absolutely.
Right? And You stay around people who don't use.
I only stay around people who don't use.
Yeah.
I went to a wedding the other night. First time I'd seen a lot of my family in a lot of years, and it was good seeing them, but it was also uncomfortable for me.
Was it?
I don't like being in that environment anymore. Not because I'm worried about what I might do, but it's just not comfortable to me.
So I look at things like that, right? Because we come in here to learn how to live, so we can learn how to live in here in the rooms, so we can live out there, right?
Yep.
So I mean, I look at freedom as freedom. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to get freedom from self, freedom from active addiction, so we could do things like that. But you're right. At least, like, you have a choice. If there is any time we do have a choice, it's choices like that. Well, I don't really, I'm going to just say hi and goodbye. I really don't want to be around that.
Right.
It's cool to have that particular choice, know, and we can have it that way. I say especially early on in recovery, not like none of us are susceptible. It doesn't matter if you have 10 or 20 years, but it's definitely early on. You should definitely not be around any of that type of shit.
People,
you know what I
and
mean?
Things are
you
super important for me.
Give yourself. You got to give yourself a chance to like.
You got to let the cobwebs clear.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we just talked about a higher power, or I just mentioned it. Tell me how important a higher power is to somebody with the disease of addiction that's in recovery.
I think it's the most important. Our second step says, like, right into step, like, if we pass over this step with a minimum of concern, we're going to have difficulty completing the rest of the steps. And I missed that the first time through. Yeah. I didn't miss it, but I didn't pay attention to it. And it was completely right, So my higher power's just been these rooms and these people in these rooms. Right. I'm a spiritual kind of guy. I think there's some kind of flow to the world.
Me too.
I don't think there's a guy up there looking down, controlling us. But I think there's a flow to the world.
There's a flow of life energy from individual to
Something
individual.
Happens. I think our choices affect things, and there's a flow.
And there's this power, for whatever reason, when you're in a room full of people who are showing empathy, right?
It's crazy.
We can all relate, and you don't even need to say any words, right? Like, so our literature talks about, I can't really quote it for sure, but it's like empathy is a wordless language of recognition, which allows us to feel time, touch reality, and get back values that was so long lost to all of us, or at least we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, that's the power that I touch on. Now, my sponsor is religious. I talk about this because, that's one great thing about the program we're in. It's not a religious program, right?
I love that.
And it's a good thing. Is we can all accept each other for, it's not about what we believe, right? We just need to know that there's something higher than us at work.
Well, that and a lot of other things.
We can't do it on our own, you know what I mean?
That and a whole lot of other things. I think in Narcotics Anonymous, we're really good at shedding skins at the door. It's like you come in there, and that's what the word anonymous means. You know what I mean? It takes the religion out. It takes the politics out. It takes the color, the race, the sexual preference. All of it goes away at the door.
Right. Which is a very good thing.
Without that, we wouldn't have what we have in there.
No, exactly. So we talk about the disease of addiction. Just, in this short little thing here, what does the disease of addiction mean to you?
Oh, boy. I mean, I believe in our literature. And, it says it's obsessive, compulsive, self-centered.
Right.
And the more I learn about this, the more I look at my life and the more I look at my choices, even today. I may not be doing drugs, but I'm still obsessive, compulsive, and self-centered. Those three things have not changed. No matter how much step work I do, no matter how many guys I sponsor, no matter how much literature I'm reading, no matter how many meetings I'm at, no matter how many meetings I share at and sound good, Those three things, obsessive, compulsive, self-centered, they're always there. And that's what I think this disease is. I think that's the core of the disease, just like our literature says. Right. I mean, I haven't had any evidence differently, looking at other people or myself.
So I've been researching a lot of shit lately from doing this. Plus, I was into it before, and the effects on the brain.
And this is great, by the way. We appreciate you doing this, man. I hope everybody subscribes and you can help somebody out, man. This is awesome.
I appreciate it. Listen, dude, I'm being like dead serious. It ain't about making money off it. This is about like, dude, I know it sounds hokey as shit, but like if what's said on this channel, or maybe even in the comments, if it helps one person, seriously, I'm good with it, dude.
That's it.
Like, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You know, man.
I know that. I know that. I feel the same exact way, man.
The recovery is my life.
If sitting here talking to you helps one person, man.
All right,
That's
so
it.
I done fucked up a lot of shit, bro. I destroyed a lot of shit. You know, I lost my kids in my disease, you know, in my active addiction and everything. So every day, man, the only thing that's on my fucking mind is redemption. I just need redemption. So this is one of the ways that I want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I do some studying on this shit. So I find that the recovery rate in these 12-step programs, even ours, is very low. It's 4, maybe 5%, depending where you look. Meaning 100 people come to a meeting for the first time, 4 people stay clean for a year, and maybe one of those stays clean for 5 or more years, right? Tell me why you think that is.
Because it takes work. That and because our disease is sneaky, man. Sneaky. Because I believe this is a disease, right? So I had 5 years clean put together at one point. Mm-hmm. And in the back of my mind, even though I heard 1,000 other people say it, I got away from the program, I relapsed. I got away from the program, I relapsed. I got away from the program and I relapsed. But I got away from the program because my disease told me, hey, you're successful. That program has done what it was supposed to do for you. Right. I owned a business. I got married. I got a house. I got a truck. I had everything I needed. I had money. I was financially independent. My disease snuck right in that back door and used that opening. Hey, man, it did what it was supposed to do. I stopped calling my sponsor. I stopped going to meetings. I stopped using my network. I got high.
Yeah. It's like that video. I did a couple of videos back with the hijacker, dude.
Yeah, I remember
our brain's been hijacked.
Yeah.
And this dude be telling us some crazy shit.
Osama bin using.
It's Osama bin using. I mean, it's nuts. And for me, it's a similar answer. I think it's so low because a lot of us have an issue with accepting the disease concept.
Right.
That like we have a disease that needs to be treated. And, you know, what the boy in the Sopranos say, you can't treat a spiritual problem with a chemical solution, right?
Right.
So, you know, I'm not really into maintenance programs, Suboxone and methadone and all that, but to each their own, right? I just kind of think they're very good drugs to get you comfortably through your withdrawal.
And then it's
but
time
then
to go.
The brain and the body need to be treated. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's just constant work, man. And it takes a while. This is going to take a while. Like you said, you've been clean a little over 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And you still could be obsessive, compulsive, self-centered.
Right.
It's because, dude, just being clean isn't enough. Because we're doing those actions, here's what I found. We're still lighting the parts of our brains up that the drugs did with
Absolutely.
our excessive shit that we're still doing. So it takes a while for the brain to heal, man.
And it's always going to be some obsessive shit we're doing because we're addicts and it's a disease. It is about the drugs, but once you get away from the drugs and you get your mind clear, it stops being about the drugs. It's about the disease.
And I think that's why it's incurable. Because it seems we'll always have that. We always live in the extremes, the excessiveness. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't just be sad. I got to want to jump off a building. I can't be happy. I got to be all egotistical, ecstatic. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I just can't,
There's no middle ground.
There's no middle ground.
I'm
all right,
wide
so
open.
if somebody's watching this right now, right, that's in active addiction, what would you say to them?
Man, give yourself a chance. This is where it's at, man. I mean, it sounds cheesy and hokey and corny, I know. And there's a lot of hard work involved, and it's intimidating. But guess what, man? I mean, you can do this. It's easy. So I saw a meme the other day on Facebook, man. It was great. It said, it's not about stopping using drugs anymore. It's about building a life to where you don't have the need to use drugs anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when you're out on them streets and you're doing your thing, dude, it's hard to envision that down the road. But man, if you're as desperate and as miserable as I was at one point, man, I mean, what else? What do you have to lose? You're gonna have a week of withdrawal, feeling bad, and then the magic happens.
Yeah. So I would add to that, man. Give yourself a break, right? Because who the hell else is going to? So, all right, so listen, that's going to do it for the interview. So what I do is I have these, at the end of the interviews, I come up with these 5 rapid fire random ass questions, right? I'm calling it the fast ass 5, right? Because I think it sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
and I'm just going to spit them off, and then you just, tell me your answer. First one, you going summer or winter?
Winter.
Winter, oh, my man.
Winter.
I keep getting summers.
Nah, give me snow, man.
Vegetables or candy?
Candy.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Horror movie or a comedy?
Comedy.
Yeah. You're at the barbecue, man. You going hamburger or hot dog?
Both. I'm fat, man. It's that addiction.
Hey, that works, man. All right, last question. Brutally honest or lie when you have to?
Brutally honest.
All right, man. All right, so that's going to do it for, this video. Man, yo, I appreciate you doing this, man. So listen, man, do me a favor. Hit that like button at the bottom of this video. There's a subscribe button, right? I always say it's easier to step work to hit that subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? And if you're feeling real good about this, you can hit that notification bell, and that'll just alert you when I do a video, you know what I'm saying? So with that said, I'm Brian.
I'm Ed.
He's Ed. And just remember, the disease of addiction is broad and outside of the realm of just using drugs. So keep coming back. More will be revealed. We're out of here.